The prospect of traveling half the world over for just a junior coaster, barely over 60 feet in height, with a candy apple red train, could provide valid evidence of lunacy. But this isn't a regular family coaster. This is Wildtrain, a PAX custom-designed mine train coaster which has since its introduction in 2005 gained notoriety as one of the most intense roller coasters ever built. Wildtrain appears as a colorful snake that has twisted itself through the trees that line the front of the park. Its eclectic blue track contrasts with the earthy tone theming of the rest of Fantasiana, with its rocky candy train looking more at home in a shopping mall rather than in this otherwise heavily immersive setting. Add the portable, industrialized feel of the station building, and you have a ride that leaves no lasting impression in regards to its theming. The train, while not intentionally built for adults, still seats two snugly enough, which, given the assault of G-forces to follow, adds extra comfort and insulation from the journey. The train also frequently had to have certain cars' restraints released manually, requiring the operator, who appeared more than ready for Wildtrain's retirement, to stand on the track in between cars and release it from beneath. Technical issues marred the running of Wildtrain, but credit to the park that they still punched out cycles as quick as they could with a single operator. The track begins with a swooping first drop to the right, pulling you along with a good amount of force at the back, zipping across the first airtime hill. That doesn't fulfill on expectations and deceives you to think that the ride doesn't have any of the grit as promised. The following upwards helix to the left is quick and exciting, with the view it allows over the park, and overall the ride feels just shaky enough to still be enjoyed. Next, Wildtrain pulls out right over a yanking drop, followed by a second airtime hill. It's at this moment that the infamous ragdoll treatment that this ride is known for commences. Over this airtime hill headed into the trees, your body is thrust remorselessly, with only the nylon seatbelt and rigid lap bar to hold you from an early exit. There isn't a seat on the train to escape this punishment. Out of this insane element, the train screeches left through the trees before running for a final figure eight, led by another airtime hill for the heavens that dives under the track with head-chopping effectiveness. The train then turns a tight right before slamming into another airtime hill and cuts an impossibly tight left back to the station with one last bump of airtime in the track as though there was some left over to cram in. The profiling of Wildtrain's track appears as if the entire course had been squeezed by a vice, warping it into impossible curves that can only be abusive on the train's undercarriage. There really is nothing else like it in the world, and now sadly no longer. And there will likely never be another roller coaster built in modern times with a sheer lack of physical consideration like that of Wildtrain. What tested the limit of human endurance in microform would find a tough time being recreated in the risk-adverse current world of amusement rides. It also remains special, as at the end of its life, every rider was celebrating this deviant creation, young and old, park visitor, or employee, all knowing that its otherwise modest initial purpose had accidentally found itself in the canon of world's most celebrated roller coaster experiences. It is truly a tragedy that it has had to make way for something new, but with its technical finickiness and limited future service life, the park's decision to replace it with something bigger may be an earlier than necessary decision, but a wise one. The fact that replacement is a Max Striker coaster is still a confusing one. For anyone who has been to this park will know, a high-thrill adult ride such as that seems out of place within the park's overall experience. Fantasiana is a tiny and cozy park overrun with mythical theming that is almost exclusively for children. Having accidentally hit a thrill milestone with Wildtrain, the park appears obligated to replace that level of thrill with something new. It may be that they feel compelled, given the success of their original, candy-colored pop star.